Hello, everybody. Just wanted to give a real quick update on where we're currently at, looking at our charts here on Bitcoin. Before I get started, of course, I always appreciate any likes and shares that you can do to further help educate our community as we move forward looking through this market. One of the things that I want to point out is we've seen a lot of candles on our day chart that are showing reversals in one way or another. We've been bouncing quite a bit between the 6,500 and 7,000 mark. We saw a push above 7,000 just a little bit ago, and we are currently sitting under 7K. I fully expect it to bounce around for maybe another day, but potentially tomorrow will be the day where we see another downtrend. I've got a couple indicators here that I want to sort of point out. We can see a bottom out here about the 7,200 mark. We saw a pretty decent run up to 9,000, 9,200. This 91.7750, according to Bitfinex, is where we sort of topped out on that run. It took about 3 to 4 days to get there. And then we're seeing a downtrend basically ever since. And I had been calling for quite some time that we were going to see some downtrend. And so a couple things that I want to point out inside of this chart. Of course, keeping in mind that we do have this death cross, which is still imminent, hasn't quite occurred yet, but if we keep moving in the direction that we're going, it will happen in the next maybe 2 to 3 days. It's not something that happens really fast. It's going to take some time. So just some patience as we allow this to occur. But when I'm looking at these candle patterns, I'm seeing a long wick that's extending off the top of the candle body, and that's indicating that we've got some buying pressure, but there's more selling, so there's more resistance that's occurring, which is sort of suppressing the price down to a certain level. The next day, we see the opposite happen. We see a large downtrend that took us all the way down to $6,400. That's a pretty significant downtrend. But if we take a look down here, when we had our push all the way down to 6K, this candle is extremely large, right? And it extended after 2 consecutive days of major selling pressure. So we saw one day of a pretty extreme pressure, but we really haven't seen some serious selling pressure since then. What we are seeing right now is we're seeing another candle similar to what we saw a couple days ago. We're seeing some buying pressure and some resistance to go along with it. And with that, we are sitting right here in this range for the last basically 3 days. So what I'm looking at is to see how this candle closes. We're seeing us in this falling wedge, which is inside of this down channel. We are below the median of the down channel, so you can see we had some resistance at this level, and we're currently trading in this particular area. And so probably in the next day or two, we are going to see more pushes downward. Now, again, this is just my opinion for educational purposes only. Where I would start to get worried is if we go back up to the $7,300 to $7,400 mark. If we get to that point, then we're probably looking for a push up to maybe 7,700, quite possibly 8,000, although that's not likely. But it is possible that we could see a run before we see it dip down. But as far as the indicators that I'm seeing here, it's showing that we're going to be met with a lot of resistance, and it's not going to allow us to push through that level. So right now, I think our cap is going to be somewhere around $7,200 to $7,300. And even then, that's probably a temporary cap before things start pushing us down. So I would say in the next day, I would sort of expect us to go down to 6,400, maybe even lower. But before we get down to the very bottom, which I'm looking at this moment at $5,000, we're going to be wanting to see some pretty significant sells. And we're looking at the day chart, of course. We're not looking at the day trading hourly charts or anything like that at this point. This is more of a long-term Bitcoin analysis. So keep that in mind as you do your trades. But as always, hopefully you got some out of the video. Of course, feel free to leave some comments or anything that you may agree or disagree with. And if there's anything else you'd like for me to look at, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll let you all go and have a great rest of your afternoon.